Okay, once you're ready to, your designing is done and you're ready to take this into MasterCAM and start machining this part, we have to export it. So click on this face and go normal to. So you're definitely normal to the screen. Then you go File, Save As. Let's save it as a DXF. And say Save. Accept. Then you should get the feedback here, and then if everything looks good, just click on Save. And then from here, you just go to your desktop. And, oops, I already had that wrong. You double click on MasterCAM X8. Okay, so then from MasterCAM X8, you're going to go File, Open. Scroll down here to the type of files. And that's an AutoCAD type file. Right, well, that's Autodesk. Where's AutoCAD? Right here. Okay, and then there's your side A. And then you go ahead and open it up. So here's your file. First thing I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to want you to put 2 lines in there at the midpoint to make sure your 0 is in the right location. So you can come over here and create line endpoint. Let it snap to the midpoint here and to the midpoint there and the midpoint there and the midpoint there. We have to make sure that that point right there is your origin. So if it is not, you're going to go up to Xform, move to origin, and then select that point right there. All right. So again, the dead center of your part has to be 0, 0. So I'm just going to select this line, get rid of these 2. All right. From this point forward, we are machining your part in something called a CAM package, and this is MasterCAM. Some of you are familiar with it, some of you are not. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to Machine Type, and I'm going to go into Mill. And then if you're not seeing this mill right here, you go into Manage List. And you scroll down your list, and then you should see over here this guy right here. So if I remove it, you should see the Milltronic Centurion 6. That's our big mill. So you click on Add, then you accept that. And you should hear your Toolpath Manager. When you go back up here and you go to Mill, and you have to do this and then select it, and that should populate up there. So to make sure everything is right, you have to have the Milltronic Centurion 6. Okay, as we go in here, I want to go in and set up my stock. And my stock in the Y is 2.25 in Y. X is 4.0. And Z is 0.5. Click on Display and click on Solid or Wireframe, whichever one you want, and accept that. Now if you turn this, and these are your views up here, and you should be used to looking at some of that. When you turn it, that's what your part should look like. Okay. First thing you're going to do is machine out the center pocket, and mine's pretty easy. So from this point forward, then we're gonna do what's called toolpathing. You're creating toolpaths. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pocket this toolpath right here. So I click on pocket, and then when this comes up, new scene name, enter new NC name, just leave it in there. That's fine. And then I'm gonna chain, and I'm gonna chain this. So I should see this green arrow. So that's in there. So I'm selecting that. Okay, so I'm pocketing. Click on Tool, and this is where you need to make sure you go through these steps. Otherwise, you're going to have everything messed up. So you go into Select Library Tool, and up here, I already have a library set up for everybody, so you don't have to do all this. So uncheck Filter Active. You go into New Library, and you're going to scroll down and find the Injection Mold Tool Library and open. So these are all the tools that we already have set up for you in a machine. So you're going to accept that. Oops, nope. Select Library Tool, uncheck the filter, So for the first tool I'm going to use is a 1/4 inch flat end mill. So this all populates. This all is all the settings already that I've set up for you. So don't mess with any of these. Okay, then we go down to cut parameters. We're climb milling. Stock to leave on walls, we're going to put that to 0. Stock to leave on floors is 0. Keep clicking. Now roughing. This is all pretty much standard. Don't mess with any of that. Finishing, you're going to do, we're going to make this like the 20 thousandths pass and machine only on the final depth. Okay, and then we click on lead in, lead out. For what we're doing here, you can just leave this as the default. Click on depth cuts, check that. This number right here is for a 1/4 inch tool. So, and that's in your packet, 30 thousandths. And then you click on linking parameters. You turn all these to absolute. That's the first thing you do. We retract, feed plane, that's fine. Top of stocks, that's 0. And our depth, now this number has to be negative. So we're negative 0.0, because I know this pocket is a 16th deep, 625. Then you accept that. And then basically what it does is it writes the toolpath. I can see one error I have in there. So now I have an error in there because I have what's called a helical entry. I don't want a helical entry. So I go back here into parameters. I go into my entry motion, and here's helix is on. I want to turn that off. And then I accept that, and then I got to regenerate. So I click on this, regenerate, and it'll regenerate that toolpath. All right, what you should see on the end here, on the outside, is this last one that's machining that wall at a finished pass. That's good, and that's what you want. Now, if you want to verify this toolpath at this point, and I suggest you do that all the time, is you click on this guy right here, Verify Selected Operations. And this is a really sweet graphical feedback. You can bring the speed down if you really want to look at what's happening. And you click on play. Basically, it's going through there. All right, and you notice what happened here. It left some material. I don't like that. I don't want that. So I know there's something up in my toolpath. So I need to change something. So I'm going to exit out of this. And you notice how it's going in here. So I'm going to go back into... Okay, then if I didn't like what I was doing, so I'm going to go back into my parameters. I'm going to click one of the other patterns here, or change my step over percentage. I'm going to click on parallel spiral, accept that. I'll regenerate. Oops. Arrow, I'll verify. It now that looks a lot better. So it's cleaning up all those tool paths. So that looks good. So I'm going to close out of this. Alright, now the only other thing I have to really do in here, so I made a mistake too. This needs to be left there. Okay, so now I'm kind of glad I did that on purpose. So I click on geometry. I'm going to add a chain, and I'm going to add this chain in there. So that's going to act as an island now. So I'm going to accept that, and then I'll reprocess. Now you noticed now how that toolpath has changed because it has to stay away from that. Because basically that's a little island in there. So let's go look at this toolpath. Now let's verify it again. Okay, so now I left that boss there because I need that for my keyhole. Alright. Alright, now if you don't like looking at the toolpath that's on there, you can come over here and then toggle this to turn it off. That turns them on, turns it off. Alright, the next toolpath is going to be chaining all these letters for my engraving. Okay, so from here, then I'll go into toolpaths, and then I'm going to go contour, and then chain. So it really doesn't matter where you start, because we're going to be on all these. So I'm selecting all these entities. There's probably an easier way if I could use a window. Okay, I went through and I chained all of them. Now you'll get to this menu here. So again, you got to go into Select Library Tool, and then uncheck the filter. And now I want to use the engraving bit for this one. Okay, and again, the feed rates and everything are set for you. That's tool number 6. So then I'm going to go into Cut Parameters. Now this is where it's going to key, because I want to use that engraving tool right on center. So I'm going to turn my compensation off. Now I'm going to go to depth cuts. You don't really need to do that because you're only going to do one pass. There's no lead in and lead outs. And then you just go all the way down to linking parameters. Alright, so again we're going to go absolute here. Top of stock now here is that depth that you just had, that you just created that pocket at. So it's negative 0.0625, and it's pretty important that you have that. So the absolute here, since I'm only going 5,000 deep, will be negative 0.0675. Okay, so that's 5 thousandths greater than this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and accept that. Alright. So now, hopefully, when I verify, now I'm going to turn this toolpath. Oops. I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to go up to verify, and let it go through its first toolpath. Okay, now this is what you should see. Notice that I'm just barely scratching that surface, and that's what you want. Okay, I'm going to exit out of here. So basically this video took you from going out of SolidWorks, bringing this into MasterCAM, and doing a pocketing and engraving operation.